Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey!
Thank you, Krusty the Crown. Will Ferrell as Harry Carey. Hey, sorry for that long loop there. I was just trying to let people join. Hey, my name's Ryan Tamori. I am owner, co-owner, co-host, or host of the Pit Press Live here, coming to you every Tuesday, Thursday, live at 8 o'clock Mountain Time. Happy to be back with everybody. A lot to get to today. Coach signs a new deal. G League invite. NIL money is out your butt. So a lot to talk to. So let's get into it. Want to welcome. Usually we're not a full house, and I didn't cue up the full house theme music. A little light tonight. Before I intro the panel as usual, or as I call them, the usual suspects. We were going to talk about Mountain West Conference transfers in and out of each team. We're going to push that to Thursday. We wanted Jacob Neff on board. We wanted Eric Malton on board. They could not join us tonight. Jacob Neff had technical difficulties, and Eric's a new dad. So busy world. But I'm going to introduce my panel as I always do, all the way from the Bay Area. He's a two-time offensive state lineman for San Juan Mendoza and the St. Pius Sartans. Played basketball under Damian Segura at Pius, and he's the MVP of a old man Filipino league. Mr. Richard Thompson. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Had a beautiful day here after enduring some wind. I guess you guys are getting beat up by the wind there in the 505 as well. So 'tis the season, but I'm doing well, ready to talk about some college basketball news with Coach resigning and this new tournament that sounds pretty exciting. So thanks for having me back on. Let's get it going.
He is the voice of Western New Mexico. He is a Lobo fan since 1970. His name is Mr. Ed Nunez. Ed, how you doing?
Doing good, Ryan. There are a lot of things happening, and you sent out some good stuff that we'll be talking about. Looking forward to talking about it. So thanks for having me back.
So when I set up the live stream here, you can set a time. Well, I didn't set a time today. So I'm going to segue this into, hey, join the conversation on YouTube, join the conversation on Twitter. I believe we're on Instagram and Facebook. I don't know, but I know for sure we're on YouTube and Twitter, or excuse me, X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. So feel free to join the comment. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Tell me I suck. Tell us you love Rick. We're here. This is a UNM community show. But so I created this about 5:30 today, quarter to 6. I didn't set a time like I normally do, notifying people that we are going live at like 8 o'clock at night. So this guy, Eric Markham, I don't know if you're joining us now. Feel free to chime in. He wrote about 20 comments, and I thought I'd start with him. I guess he thought we were going live then, so that's my bad. Eric Markham, Coach Pitino, congratulations. Going forward, Coach need to utilize his depth. We got tired too much. It hurts us defensively. Our starters were playing too many minutes. What are your thoughts? Minutes. Dent, 28 minutes. Nolan, 20. Phillip, 25. Amzil, 25. Nelly, 20. So he's just giving me, I guess, minutes they're going to play next year. That would leave a lot of minutes for the bench. We have solid depth with Washington. You see why I didn't tell you guys about this, because I wanted your organic reaction. That would leave a lot of minutes for our bench. We would have solid depth and Washington and Dotson at the guards, Applehans and Webb at 3, and Milovich at the 4 and 5. By the way, that's 549. He's been commenting since 542. And wow, with 3 scholarships to give, we need to give a couple of bigs, in my opinion. But I like our team how it is right now. Woof, woof, woof. You guys are late. I'm kicking it off with RU. This is 554. Did you hear the rumors about how much Lobos offered Toppin? 500K is the word. That's a lot. In my opinion, Dead had a huge factor in the big guy's success. 556. Roll call. Here's my favorite. 556 again. Bueller. Yep, bold statement. I know. Impacted by scoring average, I should say. When I first read that, I thought you were referring. That's 559. I thought Eric Markham was referring to these comments as his bold statement was Bueller, Bueller, Bueller. And at 6:20, 21 minutes later, uh,
Well, Ryan, it just shows you better put the time. We have people that are waiting to discuss this stuff, and I'm not laughing at what he's saying.
no,
I'm just laughing that he kept it rolling. He was
yeah,
that in depth. He's really put some thought into it, which I appreciate. The depth chart, the actual minutes being played. I haven't even thought of. I'm not gonna lie. I have my own depth chart that I've been keeping, but I haven't thought about the exact minute breakdown yet. So hats off to this gentleman. I hope he's going to join us back now and we can get some actual chatter with him. What a dedicated guy.
I, I just thought it was.
Is
I thought it was
is there more? Yeah, are you done? Was that the last
no,
one?
that's it. Thank God.
No,
That's it.
I'll say this too though. That's a lot of thought, especially about the minutes, because again, we don't know how many minutes maybe that minutes breakdown comes true, but give him a lot of credit, like Rick said, for being engaged and wanting to engage, because there was he's ready. So you know what? Thank you, Eric Markham, for listening and putting your thoughts out there. I know I appreciate it. I think we all do.
Even if is that your real name, Eric Markham? Well, we appreciate it. That was more thought put into this show than I put into this show, and I own the company. So we'll start today with some breaking news. And here's my new breaking news alarm. I guess kind of going CNN-ish. It's breaking news. It is. It isn't. I don't know. You can decide for yourself. Coach Richard Pitino, and as I was getting ready for the show, I thought, well, he's got an Italian last name. So what more, to a little Pavarotti. Ed Nunez, the athletic director today, announces that Lobos men's basketball coach Richard Pitino has received a contract extension running through 2028-2029. I just had to let Pavarotti hit there. All right. Eddie Nunez says, quote, and this is from the release. Thank you, Steve Kirkland. Quote, we are excited to have Richard Pitino continue to lead our men's basketball program. His leadership has guided our program to greater success in each of his first 3 seasons, highlighted by last season's Mountain West Championship and NCAA tournament appearance. He has also been a tremendous representative of our university and ambassador of Lobo athletics throughout the community. Our recent on-course success to continue to foster the growth is to reinvest in the program. We appreciate President Garnett Stokes and the Board of Regents for their continued support of Lobo basketball and all athletics at a championship level. Again, feel free to chime in with the conversation. YouTube, Twitter. Ed, I'll defer to you first because I'm sure you have a lot to say about this. Are you shocked? Are you surprised? I'm sure you're ecstatic. You're pretty happy.
You know what's up? I'm not surprised. I mean, it goes through 2028, 2029, I believe. But I think one of the first things I said to my wife, when I read it was, okay, here he goes. He's probably going to leave. And it's a joke because Alford signed that 10-year extension and then he's off to UCLA. So, I think they didn't make the tournament since 2014. They won the Mountain West tournament. They had a pretty good season, back-to-back 20-win seasons. I think he deserves it. I'm glad. I'm happy for him. And, I think he's going to be paid, I think 1.2, they said, or 1.3 million. And so, I think your headline is appropriate. Cash's new deal, Penn's new contract. He cashed in on the Lobo success. He had a lot to do with that. He recruited a lot of these players. Now, I think the thing is going forward, we were all stunned last Tuesday when JT Toppin decided to enter the transfer portal. We said the team was going to be built around Donovan Dent and JT Toppin. There's a big piece missing there now that Toppin has decided not to come back. So I'm kind of, supposedly the Lobos have some targets out there. It's going to be interesting to me to see who they sign in his place. That's a big loss. But I think the players, Mr. Markham, alluded to the players. He's excited. He's already jazzed without Toppin. Imagine how many comments you might have got if JT Toppin was coming back. So I think for Coach Pitino, it's a good thing. I think for the university, it's a good thing. Continuity in the coaching. We hope he's going to be around. And I said this too, though. If he has a lot of success next year in another 20-win season and they advance in the tournament, again, those things are if, and those are out there. We'll deal with that then. But for now, I think he deserves it. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the university, and I'm glad that they're going to have some continuity for the next couple of years, we hope, at the head coaching helm of the University of New Mexico.
Well, what a great way to come back saying, Jeff Grammer's article in the Albuquerque Journal today, Ed, you were spot on. Entering his fourth season as a head coach of the UNM men's basketball team, $50,000 per year raise. I make that pretty much in a year. Upping his salary and compensation for the coming 2024-25 season to $1.2 million. He's the fourth highest paid head coach in the Mountain West Conference. What? I'm reading this and I don't want to, this is not how I want to do this. So fourth highest in the Mountain West Conference, behind the top three programs by a significant margin. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what that means. Rick, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think it's good news. I think after seeing that Coach Pitino had flirtations with Louisville right after the season ended, when Louisville was having their search, I think it made New Mexico realize that Pitino, could be looking for greener pastures, and this is just a way of giving him a reward for all the work he's put in. And what a job it's been when you look at the team he took over and what he brought in the first year. He was able to talk Mashburn in and to joining him here from Minnesota, brought over House, and that really transformed the program over the past 3 years. And if you see the recruiting job that he's done over the past just 2 years that he's had, really, the likes of Dent, Toppin, and Washington have come through, and on the way are two more what look like to be contributing pieces. And also, he's been effective in the transfer portal, and now, he made some comments on 1017 The Team last week about how Toppin's departure has really put them in a tight jam, and we spoke about that on our show last week with 505 Sports Ventures Mackenzie Bishop, about how that departure of Toppin really was unexpected, and now this late in the game, it's with that many players already choosing schools, it really limits who's available. But there are still a lot of good players out there, and I don't doubt that we have the resources now. There's obviously some budget opened up with Toppin leaving, and the coaching staff have shown that they've been able to get these transfers here, and for the most part, those transfers have contributed as well. So I think it's a job well done by him, and greatly earned raise, and hopefully it keeps him sticking around through that 28-29 season, because that hopefully that would be something we can build on.
You mentioned Steve Alford there, Ed, and that was like the first thing that popped in my mind. Jeff Grammer touched on it, I think, in his article. Pitino's okay, this is where it is. Pitino's new deal ranks fourth among Mountain West coaches based on published reports of contracts for the current 2024-25 season. So it's Brian Dutcher, Nico Medved, Steve Alford, and Richard Pitino. So there you go. Brian Dutcher makes $2.3 million a year, and rightfully, and for good cause. I think that's I don't know. I think it shows some stability here, and you can't not think about who the last two coaches were between Craig Neal, and don't say the nickname, it drives me nuts. Craig Neal and Paul Weir, Dr. Paul Weir. I don't know. I think for what's going on in the football program, where there's some uncertainty, and I know a lot of people are excited for Bronco Mendenhall. It's good news. It's positive news. It was reported by Jeff Grammer that the contract was signed in mid-April, and it was made public it said Wednesday. I don't know. I misread that. Made public today or tomorrow. Obviously today, if you've got a story out. So I guess the Louisville and going other places, that that news was squashed. So he's set in stone here.
I just think one other thing that can't be overlooked is just kind of the community feel that he's brought back to the Lobos, and people love, being around his family, and his children are both characters, and I think just his availability to the media, and I think if you look over on the football side, we're still wondering how Coach Mendenhall is going to handle the media moving forward, but if I was in that slot, which I never will be, I think it's important to build some type of media relations and good image of your program. And I look over at what Boise State's doing, and their new coach is actually meeting with the media and asking them what new policies can come in to make the season better and make the team more available and providing access. And I think in this day and age, I think Coach Pitino just being available, going on the radio, providing candid interviews, I think that goes a long way. And I hope the football program kind of follows in those footsteps.
You know what? Let me add to that. And I will say this is that, you're not wrong, Rick. I think of the same thing. Winning cures a lot of that. I always said this too, that if you win, especially here at the Pit, they'll come back. There had been some seasons there, with Craig Neal and then Paul Weir and the pro. Coach Weir had some really good players. He did. They could not get together. They couldn't get together. Undisciplined, problems off the court. There was some good talent on that roster, but he wasn't as a person. I don't think anybody would suggest he wasn't the guy that didn't try to bring the basketball community together. He went in the stands, tried to make friends, and was accessible. He just wasn't that coach. Period. So, and then when Coach Pitino came in after that, he comes in with the name, right? And he comes in with the name. So I'm intrigued right away. I'm a Lobo fan. We mentioned since 1970, all that's true. So every coach that's come through here, I'm watching to see. I'm waiting to see. So I think you're right about that, Rick. He is accessible. He does give interviews. His son Jack, he could probably start his own his own podcast, man. He's got a lot of fans out there because his reactions to stuff, they always put him on camera. He's
maybe we should interview him.
He's a camera ready guy. He is. I love those reactions. Fills out his own bracket. So, but I going back to Coach Mendenhall, again, Coach Pitino, he's doing all the right things that we, as part of the media, we're not journalists or anything like that. I didn't say that, but we cover UNM athletics. We like to see that. That doesn't necessarily mean Coach Gonzalez was accessible as can be with us last season. He sat down with us. He talked to us. We talked to him at the press conference. It's very apparent that Coach Mendenhall has different ideas. Very apparent. I'm willing to say, let's see how it goes. I think one of the things that, and I know we're talking about Lobo basketball, I'll make this real quick, that Sean Ryder has said in the Journal, every single article that I've read that he said about the football program is the attention to detail. Every single article. The coaches are paying attention. And Rick, you played, man. You know way more about that than me. Attention to whatever detail it is. I'm reading like, okay, all right. They got a tough schedule. They have a very tough schedule. Very tough. But I'm willing to see at least, let's see what happens first. And, let's see if they, they're going to have a tough time winning 4, I think, with that schedule. But I think that Coach Mendenhall, we mentioned this, he had one losing season at Virginia, a 2-10 record, and then he went to several bowl games. I'm willing to say, let's see what he does. I think we have to give him a chance first. And hopefully, as the season goes on, we get to, at least hear what he thinks. We hear more interviews on 610, 1017, hopefully with the Pit Press crew. We'd love to sit down and talk to him as well. But going back to your original comment, Rick, I think with Coach Pitino, you're right. Lobo basketball has to be sold, man, right? Can you imagine, the coach at UNM, not at the Lobo men's? This goes back to Norm Ellenberger, Bob King, Richie McKay, Steve Alford with the red blazer. Did he sell the program? He sure as heck did, man. He sure as heck did. We thought Craig Neal would take the baton and keep selling it. It didn't work out. Paul Weir kind of crashed and burned. So, the Lobos, I think, are in a pretty good place with Coach Pitino. I'm glad they signed him to the extension. But on the other end of that, with Coach Mendenhall, I'm still saying let's wait and see what happens.
Lobo football is a different subject, and it's the only thing I lose, And to your fact, Ed, keyword was a journalist. Now there apparently seems to be a war on journalism, and I'm quoting somebody that I recently talked to that was in the industry, which I didn't think when I got into it, 21 years, 19 years ago, that it would be what it is today. Obviously, it's different, but I'm not going to give a song and dance. Pitino is very good, and I think he's seen his father do it. This year nationally, and I don't think it really, maybe it played a difference because Rick Pitino was at St. John's in New York City. That helped. The Big East was good. I'm sure a lot of people were watching that Thursday afternoon game or Friday afternoon game in the Big East tournament when they played UConn. That was really the last time UConn was given a hard time. I just, we're talking about basketball, and I'm trying not to beat a dead horse here. If I didn't do this, I probably wouldn't, and I do pay attention to a lot of, I'm a big sports fan, and that's why I pursued, sports, a degree in sports journalism, and then got a degree in history because I enjoy the history of the country. So I'm an enemy of the public. Whatever, and I'm like probably digging myself a hole if they're watching, and we've all said it. I don't know what the hell they're doing at the football program. I've said it. The football program here is its own worst enemy, regardless of who's the head coach, at least since Rocky Long. I don't know. They just don't do themselves any favors. That said, yeah, I think Richard Pitino is doing all the right things. We've had other coaches on. We have the same access, whatever is up UNM Media Relations ass, that we can't have these guys on our show when we have in the past. I don't know. I don't really try anymore. You think that their arms would be a little bit extended open and like, hey, like, does anybody watching know that the women's tennis team won the conference? Probably not. That's a very positive reflection on UNM athletics and that department. And I wonder how many Lobo fans knew that happened. I've tried to support local journalism, but I don't feel paying $20 a month for the Journal. And this is no knock on Sean Ryder. This is not a knock on Jeff Grammer, Lucas Pierman. Again, I was in that industry, the newspaper industry. It's $20 a month to get the paper delivered. I open the paper. I go straight to the sports section. Sometimes during the summer, it's all wire stories. I can just go, log on. I try to support it. And again, today was the first time in a couple months I logged into the Journal to read that. We're going off subject here, so I apologize for that. But Richard Pitino does all the right things. I talked to somebody, and I'm not going to call Richard Pitino what he called him, but he does a very good job. He's almost like a showman. He knows what he's doing. Not only does he represent that program, he's representing the university pretty damn well. He's representing the state. He's representing the city. I mean, down that rabbit hole of cliche stuff. He's doing a good job. To the comment board, to the comments. Love the Pit Press. David Fresca is probably not as much as you love the Minnesota Timberwolves right now. Paul Benina. I hope I pronounced that right. Go get us some bigs now, RP. And again, feel free to join the conversation. We've had a lot of people watch us the last couple weeks tonight. I don't know what summer must be in the air. Love is in the air. Again, feel free to join the comments section. Chime in, ask us a question, comment, feel free. David Fresquez, there you go. Sad face emoji. Feel free to reach out on Twitter or YouTube. Resident conspiracy theorist, John Romero, UNM tuition costs going up per Pitino contract. Is that fact or is that an assumption? You know what assuming does. May have to drop out costs getting out of hand. May have to drop out way costs getting out of hand. Does anybody get that? Did either of you get that?
May have to drop out costs getting out of hand. Probably dropped the way out of there, I think.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry, I didn't understand that. Ed, Nick, and Steve Davis, can you connect me with someone at ProView Network? I'd make a good sideline reporter. Well, reporting is based on fact. These are assumptions. So, John Romero, I'm incredibly sorry. No, I don't work for ProView. Steve Davis is not on this channel. Ed is. Ed, any advice?
You know what? John's a good guy, man. He really is. He's a big fan of the show, and I'm glad he listens. And a longtime Lobo fan. Him and I have had a couple of chats offline, and I really like his. He's being somewhat sarcastic there, but
That makes
ProView
two of
just
us.
yeah, just to say that ProView. We've tried sideline reporters in the past. We had one, a girl, and this is off the subject. Let me just touch on it real quick. She'd wait for coaches at half to ask them questions, and a couple of coaches weren't too good with that, man. They didn't want to talk. So, John, I don't know about sideline reporting, but let me see, man, what we can do over there. You never know. You never know what's going on with ProView Networks, man. That's for sure.
Yeah, because my high school coaches were waiting to get in there and flip over coolers or bash clipboards or smash out lights. They weren't trying to talk to any reporters, so I can imagine that's a tough job.
Well, you know what? There's no time, right? In high school, you got 10 minutes or 15 minutes for basketball, 10 minutes, I think. You got, there's no time for talking at half. And in particular, I know Rick, Coach Segura. Sometimes I didn't know Coach. He played for San Juan, and I didn't know him particularly well. The nice guy, but I'm sure both of them. I know Coach Segura was very intense, and I'm sure Coach Montoya was San Juan was just as intense, man. And like them both, man. Good people. Both of them are really good people. But I've seen Coach Segura. I've seen my son when he was an assistant with Coach Segura. Said he'd sweat through his suit. He'd sweat through his. He was really intense. He really was.
I love to hear that. It reminds me of what Sean Miller at U of A, just sweating through his suit, or any of the baseball players now. The Mountain Shadow, what's up, man? Or excuse me, what's up? Don't want to assume there either. Can you look? Hey, John Romero, but we're both assuming we're both asses. Can you guys share any names of targets Pitino is after to plug holes in the post and wings? Can you share? I will be candid.
Give me 1 second. I got a few names.
Gotcha. Perfect. I haven't seen anything. We had Mackenzie Bishop off last week. I don't know. Mackenzie was great. I don't think he wants to get everything away. He's on the board of the UNM Lobo Club and 505 Sports Venture Foundation. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. I haven't heard anything.
Okay, so
here's Rick.
The
Here's
forwards that I'm aware of in the portal this guy plays a guard forward position from Oral Roberts. He's only 6'4". There's Jalen Bedford, averaged 14 points last year at Oral Roberts. It looks like the other taller players would be incoming freshmen that they're still recruiting. There's a 6'11" player named Ethan Lathan, and then a 6'8" high school player named Chiang Ring. So those are the only ones with any size that I'm aware of right now. There's still a ton of players available, though, that that I haven't seen any reported recently, though. So those are the bigger guys that I've seen were high school players.
Rick, who is the guy you sent in our text that you wanted and he didn't sign with us? I guess I'm.
So there was a player from Cal Berkeley here named Grant Newell. He was a 6'9" forward who wasn't getting much playing time there, and I thought he would have fit in well. And also the big man from Wyoming, I would have liked to have. What was his name? Cam Manayawu. I thought he would have fit in nicely here, but there's still a lot of guys available. There's still a lot of NIL resources available from our 505 Sports Ventures, and we know Pitino can talk the talk. So I would expect some good news coming in, hopefully.
And maybe we might have touched on it last week, continuing the basketball conversation, but I mean, how pressed are we, when you see the concern, how pressing is it for somebody like a wing to get on this team next year?
I think they got the kid Milovich, right? He's coming in, and then the kid from Arizona. They got two good wings right there. Quentin Webb's a wing. Amzil will play a 3 and a 4, but I think they're more looking inside for a 4 now that Toppin's gone. And Eric Markham, to his comment, he thought, he said JT Toppin succeeded a lot because of Dent. Sure, you could say that, but I thought they worked the 2-man game together very well. Dent read it, read the pick and roll, the pick and pop, or even a sliding a pick and then sliding to the basket. I thought Dent did a good job of that. But you got a guy that can finish in JT Toppin. You finished and left hand hook, a dunk, high percentage shots in the paint. So if New Mexico's looking for bigs like that, good luck, right? Because those he's freshman of the year in the Mountain West, one of the top freshmen in the country. Those kind of kids don't grow on trees. They don't. But that, Rick, to your point, that doesn't mean there aren't good players in the portal. There are, so they're I'm sure they're looking for a big, an athletic big inside. You've got Nelly coming back, and Nelly's going to produce. Nelly's going to, what do you have this year? 13, 14. He's going to produce. Sometimes passes. He had some problems with some hands. Sometimes I thought Dan put some right on him and he dropped them, but he's going to produce. He's going to produce. So the other guy they're looking for has to be a 4. They got to be looking for an athletic 4. Somebody, you remember we said this with Udeze and then with Toppin, you could throw the ball in there, and the same thing with Nelly, and expect to get some points inside the paint. With some Udeze just overpowered people. It wasn't as if he had a great post move or drop step or a jump hook. He just overpowered people, shot right over them. So I think that's what they're looking for, Ryan, to add, to their roster is a solid 4 if they can get one, an athletic 4 that can catch and shoot and do the things that Toppin did, and maybe not. Maybe the skill set will be different, but they're looking, I think, for an athletic 4 that can play some defense and rebound, I would think.
Rick, do you have anything to add to that before I move back to the comments?
No, just at this point, they need a body at the 4 or 5. That's really when I'm looking at my chart here where they're lacking. And Philly B, the transfer they got from Arizona, he's really not a post player. He plays more like a guard. And Coach Pitino said on the radio last week, he really sees him playing at the 3, the 2, or even the 1, he said. And when you watch his international tape of Philly B, he can actually handle the ball up top and is a good passer. So I wouldn't expect him to play the 1, but I also wouldn't expect him to really be banging down low and play 4 or 5. So I would expect him to spend some time at the 2 or 3. And there's just that glaring hole in the post right now with, of course, we have Amzil returning and NJJ, but they need some depth there definitely. And I wouldn't expect them to find anyone less than what they've got the last few years.
I'm not laughing at your comment, Rick. I was laughing at something in the comments. I'm going back to the comments. Well, these both are quality. This makes my night. It's Z Mountain Shadow. Will Joseph be heading back to Nigeria for summer? Do you want a repeat of last year's fiasco and the problems leaving the country? I had heard, again, hearsay, that he was warned not to go to Canada, and he went anyway. Allegedly. Don't quote me on that. So I would hope if he goes, everything would be squared away. I would imagine probably not the best way, the best thing to do after last year's fiasco. I mean, he got back like 3 days before the season started. That was really bad. So no, I wouldn't. I would hope that that he doesn't go back. All sports best. When can we expect the Lobos to make it out of the first round of the tournament? Ed, you can take that one.
You know what? I think that's again based on I thought we all thought they had the bettors thought New Mexico was a 2-point favorite. Las Vegas thought, so I would have said going forward, if Toppin had been here, there would have been a very good chance. The roster that's coming back is still pretty good. Dan Washington, Amzil, we're still waiting to see, and the Dotson's supposed to be pretty good. Milovic they're supposed to be solid freshmen. I don't think you can ever predict that. I've been always hoping, and I've been disappointed and let down about that. I don't know that we can sit there and say it's going to happen next year. We don't know. There's a big hole there at that 4 position. They've got some talented perimeter players, yes. Until we see how they're going to fill that 4 hole, I don't know that we can safely say, hey, they're going to get in the tournament. They had been predicted. I think they were ranked 21st, I think. But when everybody thought Toppin was coming back, and I think they were predicted to win the Mountain West. So things have changed a little bit. When you lose a player like that, your stock drops a little bit until we find out who's going to come in here. And again, a lot of the other roster is pretty good. I still think it's a solid roster, but they do have a little bit of a hole inside. And I don't know that we can sit there and say, hey, they're going to win. Clemson was much better than we thought. They, made it to the Sweet 16. I thought that was a game that,
Elite Eight.
Elite Eight. That's right. That they might have been able to win. And, Clemson took them apart. They did easily. It wasn't really even a close game. Maybe they got it to within 8 or 10. And after that, it was downhill for Clemson. So I don't know that we can sit there, any of us, and sit there and say, hey, they're going to do it next year. I'm certainly hoping. I'm always optimistic. The glass is always half full here, even if I'm foolish about it. So we'll have to see.
I'm glass half empty kind of guy, because I know the gentleman behind All Sports Best. I have to remind people, and I see your next comment. I try to remain objective. The Lobo fandom had and is pretty much gone. I remind people the last team to beat UConn in the tournament 2 years ago, Teddy Allen and New Mexico State. Rick, I'll give my thoughts and then I'll throw it to you if you have an opinion on that. And we need to get to a commercial break. We talked about it before the tournament, or when they lost to Clemson, after the tournament, and how well teams that beat them do. Clemson gets to the Elite Eight. Harvard, you can throw that in there. Stanford in 2014 got to the Sweet 16. 2013, Harvard pulls off, the first, Ivy Leagues, their first tournament win or first Ivy League school win in league history or so. No, Princeton won. So it'd been the first tournament win in our Harvard history. 2012, they lost to Louisville in the second round. They get to the Elite Eight. They got to the Final Four and lost to Kentucky. 99, got to go to UConn. They won a national championship. So it's very funny with that. I don't know how you win in the tournament. You have to show up because, and especially this last year, it was very top heavy. Kind of think, the luck of the match. I mean, look what Oakland did. And then look at the last 2, 3, 4 years with just upsets. I think it's such an unpredictable, it's truly unpredictable, but I guess I'll defend Lobo fan here. I don't, we don't play, they don't play the WAC schedule. Heyo. Rick, do you have any thoughts on that?
I guess just looking forward to the future of the Mountain West Conference, I think we're going to see a much weaker conference next year, opposed to looking at it nationally versus the other conferences. There was a huge talent drain in my eyes this offseason in the Mountain West, with a lot of the top players transferring out or graduating out from their respective schools. In my eyes, Boise, they did get a little bit stronger at the point guard position with Cardenas, but then they lost Ogbo. So they brought in an NAIA transfer to try to fill that hole, which we'll see. So in my eyes, Boise they'll be looking different, but they have a lot of experience in the post with Degenhardt and Stanley down there. And then, San Diego State is going to have a totally new roster. So when you just look across the league, it's not only the Lobos that lost key guys, it's almost every team, right, lost some of their key players and are going to have to transform on the fly. And I just don't know if the quality of those star players that each team seemed to have last year is going to be there this year, but I'm sure it'll still be just as competitive. I just don't know on a national level if it'll be as competitive as it was this year.
No, I think it's poised to take a step back. We're going to hit commercial break. My name is Ryan Tamori. I'm the host here on the Pit Press Live. We'll be right back after we pay some bills.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
All right, welcome back to the Pit Press Live. My name is Ryan Tamori. I'm your host, and as always, I'm joined by some of the usual suspects, Mr. Ed Nunez and Mr. Rick Thompson. I'm going to go back to the comments, and we're going to get into our next topic. Here he is. I love it. You know, I'm happy about this. Oh, where'd it go?
Say hello to Miguel Sanchez.
Miguel Sanchez, any thoughts on the combine, excluding Ledee, because he is a surefire or considered age with no potential left to grow into the pros versus Toppin in the combine? I was going to talk about Jalen House. I was trying to think about that. I did not. That's my detriment. I did not see who was invited to the NBA draft combine or the G League elite camp. The biggest news I saw was Jalen House, and according to Jonathan Givenoy, not going to work here anymore. I hope I pronounced that right. New Mexico guard Jalen House has been invited to the G League elite camp, a source told ESPN. The son of Eddie House, who played in the league 11 years. Jalen was a three-time All-Mountain West and Defensive Player of the Year. Was three-time All-Mountain West and Defensive Player of the Year in the conference. I'll start there, though. I think it was pretty. I mean, Jalen House is like hit or miss. I think he's a bit too erratic. You two are the X's and O's guys. I don't see why it can't hurt that he goes to the camp. He's had a lot of accolades in the Mountain West, especially this year with how good the league was. I think it's good for him. And why not? You know, why that's only more eyes on him to see his capabilities and how hard he hustles. I mean, that's his biggest attribute and strength is his will. And Rick, as you called him, named him after the John Leguizamo movie, The Pest. He was a pest on defense. I thought he was phenomenal on defense for as much trash as I talk on this show. Rick, your thoughts about him being invited to the G League Elite Camp?
Yeah, obviously a great opportunity for him. And, I think he will really shine in the scrimmages or where they get into the open play because that's where his heart and determination will show, probably making plays for other guys, jumping on the floor, getting steals and things that don't just show up maybe in the statistics that they're keeping in the shooting drills or the other things in the combine. So 7 players last year made it out of this G League combine and then got invited to the NBA combine that Toppin was invited to. So I think this is great for House. I hope he makes the most of this opportunity. I think, with his size, that just kind of hinders him being that small at that, in the NBA. There's not a lot of guys that play a long time outside of maybe Isaiah Thomas, Steph Curry, a handful of others have really become. Allen Iverson really became successful at that size. But if anyone can make it out, I think he can, and definitely could be playing on a G League team next year and have an opportunity to go from there.
Ed, your thoughts?
I don't think it's out of the realm, to for him to be on a G League team. You mentioned the defensive pressure that he put, and there was times he gambled. There's times he gambled and it didn't work. There was times, he was nominated for defensive player, one of the finals defensive player of the year. There's times he drove me nuts, with his gambling. And Rick, I think you mentioned that some of the gambles. We talked about that on previous shows. He left the shooter open. Some of the gambles going in to dig in and then not getting back. I think though, when my brother and I saw him play at the Final Four All-Star game, he played really well. He played well enough to be the MVP. He's training in Phoenix. He moved back there. He's got some lineage there with his dad, Eddie, having played the NBA for 9 years. He doesn't have his dad's size. That's the thing. Eddie was 6'5", and House is 6'1". They say 6'1". So the 4 inches size matters in the NBA for sure, and trying to get to the NBA. I think he can. He's maddening to me.
Hold on, Ed. His dad was only 6'1" also.
I thought he was 6'5".
I'm gonna fact check you there.
Yeah,
he's 6'1" too. So maybe that's on his side. He's got the genes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I thought Eddie was a little taller.
Got
6'1"
on Wikipedia. Man. Someone could have changed it today. But...
My mistake. I thought Eddie was a lot taller than that. He sure played a lot taller than that, man. So, well, okay. So Eddie House was a pro for 9 years.
11
years.
Yeah.
The NBA championship with Boston in 2009. A member of that team and played really well. Beat the heck out of my Lakers that year. Was it 2009? 2008. 2008. So anyway, I think he's got a chance. The G League. Now, my son and I cover the Santa Ana Thunder, the team in the TBL, which is a league below the G League. And you know what? That league here is there's some pretty good players in that league. There's some pretty darn good players. And I'm only referencing that to saying that the G League is a step up from the TBL. And I think he's got a chance. I do. I think he's working hard in Phoenix and training, and I think he's really working on things he needs to get to that next level. And now the NBA is a whole different thing. I don't see that. I don't. You mentioned some of the great little men in the game, Rick, Isaiah Thomas, Allen Iverson. I Muggsy Bogues for a while. I'm sorry.
Muggsy Bogues. You said it. We said it at the same
Earl
time.
Boykins.
Yeah, Earl Boykins was
what a name.
Michael Adams, back in the day, you guys wouldn't remember him. I wouldn't think, but Michael Adams was a great little man. I don't see that. I don't see him making the NBA, but if he gets on the G League roster, you never know. And I think, man, I'm really rooting for him to get there. I really am. I hope he does, and I think it's great that he got the invite. I really do.
Earl Boykins is 5'5", by the way. Fun fact. Yeah, I don't think it can hurt Jalen and House. And by the way, another positive for the UNM men's basketball program that somebody from there is there. And then, back-to-back MVPs of that college basketball all-star game with Morris Udeze or Uncle Mo. Back to the comments. And again, feel free to chime in. Z Mountain Shadow, any word on where Toppin may land? John Romero, our sideline reporter and in-house conspiracy theorist. I heard Texas was front runner for JT. Serge Jabari-Rice from the Aggies went there a couple of years ago, did well. Serge Jabari-Rice was a phenomenal player. He was on that 2022 team that knocked off Connecticut in the first round in Buffalo. And then he was on Texas, that team that went to the Elite Eight last year. I think, is he in the G League? I don't know where he's at now, but he was a phenomenal player, really good. How many scholarships do we still have open? 2.
Which leads me back to the previous comment of who are we looking at? As of May 6th, Daniel Thomas out of David W. Carter High School, a 6'8" forward in Dallas, Texas, had a visit and an offer from New Mexico basketball. So that is someone to watch out for. Daniel Thomas, 6'8", out of Dallas, Texas. And
I
thank
like
you,
this.
Eric Moulton, for sending me that.
Eric hates me. He didn't send me anything. That would be a huge get.
Oh,
I don't.
but I wanted to hit on that comment about Toppin.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you're going to go to it, but obviously he was invited to the NBA camp. Lobos haven't had
Yes.
anybody invited since 2014, right? With Bairstow, and was that also the same year as Snell? I
It
can't
would've been
recall if
Tony.
it was the same or different. But
Tony and Kendall.
yes, Kendall. So right now, Toppin is on the draft boards, sitting outside the top 60, maybe around 70 is what I've seen on a few. So he's probably focusing all his efforts on that and trying to get picked. But I haven't heard anything on what schools outside of the Texas schools that people have mentioned.
He's from. He's from the Dallas area. I mean, I can see him ending up there. I don't. Since we haven't heard anything, I mean, is there really a possibility? And this is speculation on my part. There's got to be a possibility he can come back, right? Or if they don't want him, is it one of those?
I mean, it's possible, but as our NIL 505 Sports Ventures resource said, it's about as likely as lightning striking twice, right? So I wouldn't expect Toppin to come back, but it is possible, not maybe the smallest percent chance. But I wanted to go back to Miguel Sanchez's comment, and when NBA teams are looking at a guy and why they're maybe inviting Toppin to the combine versus someone who had more stats and more accolades than a player like Ledee. And I think Miguel's hitting on a great point. I think it depends what that NBA team needs. If they want somebody they can just plug in and they know they can play 15 minutes a game, they're probably going to go with Ledee. If they're looking more long-term at someone's potential like Toppin, and they can wait 2 or 3 years for him to develop into an NBA player and to gain some muscle, I think it just depends on what NBA team you are and what their need really is. But I think the reason Toppin got invited over Ledee is just based on the potential that the scouts have seen.
Ed, I'll throw this your way. I know it's kind of a curveball. When you hear that news, are you shocked that Ledee wasn't invited?
You know what, Miguel? Again, he's a great guy, and
Hello to Miguel Sanchez.
yeah, he's provides a lot of comments and is an avid watcher of our show. I know he's not a big fan of Ledee. I know that he thought Ledee got away with a lot of offensive fouls when the San Diego State played New Mexico, and so yeah, a little bit. I guess I kind of am, but I think Rick makes a good point. The potential, they see that freshman of the year, maybe one of the freshman finalists. That doesn't mean Ledee didn't have a great year too. He did. I think he was the Mountain West Conference Player of the Year, wasn't he?
It was Great Osabar voted by the coaches. I believe Ledee was voted by the media. I didn't understand that this year. I'm not doing a very good job, but yeah.
That's a legitimate question, but I think Rick's answer is is right on time about Toppin. But I think the other thing is I kind of wonder, is Toppin maybe just going to go pro? Because we don't know. It's not been said about what other school he might be thinking about. Texas has been speculated on, but we really haven't heard. And I kind of starting to wonder. No, he's got the invite to the combine. I don't think he's NBA ready at all. But I kind of wonder what Ramon Sessions is in his ear. So we don't, Ramon Sessions, said, hey, you need to go practice against pros every day. We don't know what Ramon Sessions is telling them. We have no idea. So I kind of wonder about that. There hasn't been any speculation or anything that we've heard where he's going or where he may end up. He's not a Lobo anymore. I wish him well. I do. And if he goes somewhere, I kind of disagree with McKenzie. All due respect to McKenzie. He's not. I wouldn't think he's going to go get 5 shots. Why in the heck would you do that? That'd be a really dumb move. Alec did that though. Josiah Alec said, hey, I want out of here. He went to Nebraska. Well, how many shots did he get there a game? I don't know.
He was a starter.
He's a starter, but how much
on an NCAA tournament? On an NCAA tournament.
No, he did. But did he get as many shots there as he did here? I don't know if he did. I know Nebraska was pretty good, but he left here, and he was going to get shots here. He was, I thought, had it made here. They were going to give him the ball, but I don't know how many shots he got at Nebraska is what I'm saying. So
He played in 33 games, played 24 minutes, shot 55% from the field, 36% from three. His free throw percentage was meh. 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 7.3 points.
what he, I thought he got better stats with the Lobos. I thought he got better stats with New Mexico, but back to JT Toppin, it's going to be interesting to see what he does do. I'm beginning to kind of wonder if he thinks again, Ramon Sessions in his ear already got him out of here. Whatever, JT Toppin made that decision. We have no idea what Ramon Sessions is telling him right now as we speak. So we haven't heard any school that he's going to. So maybe he's thinking of just going pro, and I think that would be a mistake, but we'll see.
And he has
we know
till May 29th to decide if he wants to withdraw and retain his college eligibility for next season. So he's got a few more weeks to decide after the camps take place and see how it all goes. Then all these guys can determine if they want to go back or not.
May 29th. We'll have to mark that on our calendar. I know what Ramon Sessions is telling JT Toppin, Ed, expletive UNM. That's what he's telling him. That's why he left.
Yes.
Yes. Ramon's. Where the hell didn't Ramon Sessions go to like a small college? Like
Nevada.
I'm not talking trash.
Nevada. It's in conference.
That's right.
term.
Yeah. That was in the WAC, and I knew he played for Cleveland, but I knew it was a smaller school. He was on a no, he wasn't on that Sweet 16 team in 2004. He was there the year after. That's not really my talking crap, but he was on Nevada teams that were good in the WAC. It's very funny how that guy became like public enemy number 1 against UNM basketball in this city. It's funny to me. My co-host or co-owner, Eric Moulton, fun fact, Daniel Thomas played against Toppin in high school. Fun fact. Get another one of, we know where he had some good basketball, so hopefully that'll translate over to UNM if he comes here. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm talking out of my ass. Okay. Other big news. We're going to transition here again. My name is Ryan Tamori. This is the Pit Press Live. I'm joined by Ed Nunez, the voice of the Western New Mexico Mustangs. And I haven't said it in a while, not to be confused with Eddie Nunez, who's the athletic director, who I hope is not listening tonight because of the things that have come out of my mouth. And Richard Thompson from the Bay Area. Glad you guys are joining us again. We're a little light, shorthanded tonight. It's not Danny Tanner and John Stamos. It's not a full house. I got to stop with the pop culture funds. Okay, so Rick, you brought this to my attention today, I believe. And I find this very fascinating. And this is the headline on CBS Sports. You know who I feel like is this how I have it queued up?
What is my problem?
There we go. That's Alex Jones. That's Alex Jones yelling. Because if you've ever watched InfoWars, I can't believe I'm saying this. He's always got like news articles in front of him, and that's how I feel this year. And I watched a documentary on him last night on Max, which was really disturbing. NIL driven. Let's back to basketball. NIL driven Las Vegas college basketball event with millions paid to schools is nearly finalized. This is the headline on CBS Sports. Before I go even further, Alec didn't start during conference play. I was wrong. I watched a lot of Nebraska basketball. And won some money on Nebraska basketball, but he still played 33 games. I think he started in against A&M in the tournament. Why did Apple Hands pull out of the transfer portal? Don't really see him developing into an impact player at Division I. He should move to a low division for playing time. Rick, I'll go to you, but why does anybody do anything? Because they can.
Well, I think it may or may not have something to do with that transfer that was looking to come here from Missouri, Tanjay. It seemed like Apple Hands might have got the heads up that that move was taking place. He put his name into the portal, and once Tanjay flipped his script and decided to go to Wisconsin, then Apple Hans, I believe a day or two later, put his name back in. So I don't know if that's the reason why. That could be a reason why. I kind of agree that if he wants to get playing time, that it may be a good idea to move elsewhere. I'm not saying he should transfer out of UNM because I think he still has potential, but I don't see him getting many minutes in this coming season. It's not to say that he couldn't the next year, but with the pieces they have at the wing position right now, I don't see him playing much this year. It's not to say he's not a good player and he can't contribute, but just with the pieces they have at wing, it seems like he decided to come back after Tanjay decided to bolt.
That's the consensus that I got. I mean, the spot, you know, it's free agency. I mean, he hears the news and he's like, okay, I'll just stay. Anyway, back to this tournament. NIL driven Las Vegas college basketball event with millions paid to schools is nearly finalized. That is the headline off of CBS Sports today. Matt Norlander, who covers college basketball, and Dennis Dodd, who covers college football or college athletics. The Players Era Festival will include 8 teams in 2024, and in 2025, it's expected to double 16 teams with huge brands. Here's the big stink. It'll take place over Las Vegas. It'll take place over Thanksgiving weekend in Las Vegas. The event will include $1 million NIL payouts for the 8 participating schools. I spoke to somebody close to what this is. Asked somebody a question. I'm not going to name names. That's involved with this, and they mentioned that UNM is trying to get themselves in one of these tournaments. So it's not the only one, but I think that this one, I mean, that's the evolution of college athletics today. But here you go, Lobo fan. This will tick you. The team set to play, a source told CBS Sports: Alabama, Houston, Notre Dame, Oregon, Texas A&M, Rutgers, and San Diego State. I want to get your guys' opinion on this. I think it's absolutely awesome. NIL is still the wild, wild west. I don't fully understand it. I know we've talked to Mackenzie Bishop. We've talked to Kurt Roth. We've talked to Drew Herrig, 505 Sports Venture Foundation. It's almost like the trading card industry. It's just the wild west. Maybe that's a bad comparison, but I think it's very cool, and I think it's good for these players, especially with, I know I sound cliche, but how much money these schools have made off these players. I don't understand why you can't profit off of that. I don't understand why you can't profit off of it and go get an education. Who's the gymnast from LSU? Isn't she making like she's making like $2 million a year. I'm going back to John Romero. There was an article yesterday I was reading stating Pac-12 might take some mountain schools. Any comments, gentlemen? Well, the Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. And who is, and boy, Ed, really bashing on John Romero today. Yeah, Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. It's the Pac-2. And Oregon State and Washington State joined the West Coast Conference for other sports, except for, yeah, you spelled, any comments, gentlemen? Now I lost my train of thought there.
About the Pac-12, Pac-2.
Yeah, Pac-2. The Washington State and Oregon State is affiliated with the Mountain West. They're not an actual member, but they're going to the West Coast Conference for all the other sports. Rick, you're the one who brought this to my attention. I think this is pretty awesome. What are your thoughts on what is going on with NIL here and with this, paying to be in this tournament and helping out NIL?
First of all, I love the name Players Era Festival. I think in a few years it should be the Player Haters Ball. But it's looked
corny.
It looks to expand to 16 teams, moving forward, and they're looking to bring in more of the blue blood teams like Duke, Gonzaga, Kansas, Michigan, Syracuse, Virginia, all in the upcoming years. So I think it'll be great to have this type of midseason tournament. Obviously, it's good for the schools to get $1 million each to their NIL collective. The players will have a chance, I guess, to actually earn an investment in one of the companies put this on, taking a stake. They'll also be obligated to do some NIL activities during that week, and it will be Thanksgiving week, I believe, the 2 days prior to Thanksgiving and the Friday after Thanksgiving. So it'll be a cool event. I love Vegas. It's a great place for any type of event like that. But I think when you're just looking at it, I guess for these other schools, like other teams in the Mountain West Conference, it's like the rich are getting richer, right? They just get the more opportunities and the more money, and hopefully these smaller schools, aren't losing out. I know Boise State was expected to play Rutgers in one of their other tournaments, but Rutgers dropped out to be in this NIL tournament, so it can be weakening some other teams' schedules. But one interesting thing about these midseason tournaments that I didn't know, like the Maui Invitational and others, is they can only have the same team come back every 4 years. So that's why you don't see a team like North Carolina or Duke in the Maui Invitational every year. They have to rotate it. But what they're hoping to do with this Las Vegas NIL tournament is every year just slightly change the name of the tournament, I guess, so they could bring back the same teams year after year. So I think it's a great opportunity, and hopefully we see more tournaments like this in the middle of the season.
I want to read this quote to you guys from CBS Sports. Quote, if there's any, this is a anonymous coach. Great. Sorry, reading a comment. We'll go back to that. I thought this quote was great. And it's a anonymous participating coach in the Players Era Festival that they told Matt Norlander and Dennis Dodd, quote, if there are events where there's an extraordinary amount of money involved and there's no donor fatigued involved in this, how do you not play in this? There's not a decision we make that's not NIL driven. This is the best part. I'll play in the parking lot of Mandalay Bay just to clear the fucking check. End quote. That is insanity to me. Ed, your thoughts on this tournament? I mean, how much do you think? I don't know. Just your thoughts. Sorry.
Well, it is insanity, but you know what? It's money driven, and they're embracing it now. You can't beat them, might as well join them. The NCAA, those that ran the NCAA in the past must be turning it over, man. Because in the past they would, they governed everything. They made
you couldn't get cream cheese on your bagel,
right? Think about it. This all started. Ed O'Bannon, the UCLA guy, sued him for image and likeness, and then it just rolled. It was a suit that took a long time. Chris Webber, back in the day, playing for Michigan, couldn't get money on the weekend to even have a meal, but they're selling his jersey. We've been through this in the library, making lots of money. So the NCAA people must be rolling over. But hey, I think Rick's right. It's a great showcase. You know what? If that's the way it's people college, what does CBS pay the NCAA for rights to the tournament? I think it's billions of dollars, right? It's a lot of money.
It's in the bill. It's close to $1 billion or in the billions.
So you can't say that they're not making money. They're making money hand over fist. We've been through this. I'm glad. I'm happy. I think it's a good thing for them. I think Rick's, you hit on something there too about the small schools. You kind of wonder, are they going to be left? I think that about Silver City, when I'm at Western New Mexico, we can pay athletes too. But does Western New Mexico have as much money as Texas A&M Kingsville, UT Permian, West Texas A&M? They don't. I'm hoping that's not going to be they put more chips on the table against Western as it is, I think. But I think, back to that tournament, I don't see how it's a bad thing. I don't. There's going to be some people that might have a problem with it, but this is a full embrace of the NIL, and why not? You know what? And it's like Rick said, it's going to be more teams, more money, and they're going to, they'll change the venue, change the name. This is going to be going on for a while until I don't see it stopping in the near future. I think it's good. I really do. I mean, if there's money to be made, people are getting paid for a long time. Somewhere along the line, I think they're going to have to regulate what athletes get. I do think that. I don't know how they're going to do that. I do think they're going to have to regulate something about it, but I'm happy for the athletes. I think they should get compensated.
Yeah, and they're playing this at T-Mobile, which I would imagine the Mountain West Conference tournament will be there then next year.
It's going to be like a music festival and other attractions, outside of just the game. So, MGM Resorts is where they're looking at the T-Mobile Arena, MGM Garden, and Michelob Ultra Arena. So it'll be a whole festivity, a whole week dedicated to it. So I would just expect it to keep growing moving forward. And there was something else I wanted to hit on, Ed, but you brought it up. But go ahead, Ryan. If I think of it, I'll I'll come back.
Interrupt me, but I wanted to read this to Ed. How much revenue does March Madness make for the NCAA? In 2010, it signed a 14-year deal worth $10.8 billion TV rights deal with CBS Sports and Turner Broadcasting System. In 2016, that agreement was extended to 2032. I thought Fox was trying to bid for it, so now I know that. Extended to 2032, and the network's committing to pay a further $8.8 billion for the 8 years added to the contract. CBS and Warner Bros. Discovery paid the NCAA about $900 million annually to broadcast the NCAA tournament.
And the last thing that they are providing is they said they want to provide some type of financial education courses for these players, which is probably one of the coolest things I've heard, because with all of this NIL money being thrown around, you wonder if these kids are learning anything about taxes or actually investing this for the long run. We hope so, but we also know that's probably not true in a lot of the cases. So it's cool that this tournament is going to offer financial classes at the tournament as they're getting paid.
I'm going to go back to the comments a little bit, and if you guys want to chime in, I'm going to go to Michael Cedillo. I thought JT Toppin had signed with Texas Tech. Do you know who UNM will sign in next men's basketball? We had Mackenzie Bishop on last week. It's kind of mum. It's they keep they can't talk much. I haven't heard anything with JT Toppin. We have not. That will be a topic when he signs, even if it were to happen in the next 10 minutes. No, he's not signed with Texas Tech. We just speculate, making asses out of ourselves. We assume it's probably going to be a Texas school because he's from the Dallas area. Z Mountain Shadow again. Hey, man, thank you. We appreciate you commenting. Thank you. You're one of the big commenters, so much appreciated. And again, to everybody watching, was a little kind of perked up tonight, so we really appreciate you guys. Again, this is Pit Press Live. My name is Ryan Tamori. Rick Thompson, Ed Nunez. We're not a full house tonight. No Danny Tanner. How much money does Indiana have in its NIL fund? Bobby Knight is rolling over in its grave right now. I know Arkansas is $5 million, and Indiana might be one of the most improved teams next year. Z Mountain Shadow, buy the Cal NM $20 burritos, boys. Pitt should ban hot dogs and sell dense $20 burritos if you want to eat at the game. That's right. He has his own burrito. It's at Sadie's, right? 505 Sports Venture Foundation. Oh.
Mr. Hutz, why are you burning all your personal papers?
As of this moment, Lionel Hutz no longer exists. Say hello to Miguel Sanchez.
Lionel Hutz no longer exists. I know that's a little long.
Say hello to Miguel Sanchez.
I cut that twice. That's how much you mean to me, Miguel Sanchez. That's how much of a 90s Simpsons fan I am. And I love Lionel Hutz. He's a sleazy lawyer. He's like one of the best characters on there. 505 Sports Venture Foundation should bet half their donations on Red or Black annually. So UNM gets up to... I don't know what that is. S16 contention 50% of the time, but I like that idea to definitely right. Why not? I'm going to pitch that question to Kurt Roth, and he's kind of going to be looking at me like I'm the stupidest mother effer on the face of the planet. I like that idea, though. I'm going back to that comment. That is fantastic. 505 Sports Venture Foundation should bet half their donations on Red or Black annually. So UNM get up to half all the time. I don't know how you feel about that, Ed. You'd probably. I wish Jacob was on with us tonight.
You know what? Any idea? Like, why not? I mean,
Hey.
If this NIL thing, I don't know that any idea, is off of the table. Some of them may be, but I don't know that one was. I mean, they're just thinking outside the box, and there's going to be more ideas like it. Believe me.
And back to John Romero. John Wilner, yes, he's a good writer. From Bay Area News wrote article I was referring to. His quote was, chances of Wazoo and OSU partnering with mountain schools under Pac-12 banner close to 90%. If he's reporting it, I buy that. He broke the news. I think that the Washington and Oregon were leaving. He broke some big news. And we go back to Miguel Sanchez.
Say hello to Miguel Sanchez.
Sweet 16. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so 505 Sports Venture Foundation should bet half their donations on Red or Black Entry, so UNM gets to the Sweet 16 contention 50% of the time. Okay. Z Mountain Shadow, ending Mountain West and moving shop to Pac-12 banner makes financial sense. I mean, when you really look at it, does it? I mean, if you're avid with, you know what I mean? I'll say that. When I look at that, I know that the Pac-12 is not the Pac-12 that I know. Ed, you can chime in this on me. When I think of the Pac-10, the Pac-8, the Pac-10, the Pac-12, I know U of A and ASU weren't original members, but I think of U of A. I think of ASU. I think of USC. I think of UCLA. I think of Washington. I think of those schools, Stanford and Cal. It happened last week when we were on here, when they were putting the ACC. Rick, you mentioned it. They were putting the ACC logo on the Stanford floor. It just looks so stupid. I mean, it just, I don't know if it makes financial sense because the Pac-12 is not what the Pac-12 was. It's going to be the Mountain West and Boise in Washington State and Oregon State. I mean, the Pac-12 was phenomenal in football this year. Oregon State was really good. They beat up on each other. You had a team that made the national championship. And it was an old school Rose Bowl game. But I don't know. When you hear that, Ed, that to me, these teams under the Pac-12 banner, I think they're just going to be viewed as the Mountain West, if that made sense. I don't know. I'm going to you because, when you know what I'm talking about when I mentioned the Pac-8 and the Pac-12.
Yeah, you mentioned the names of all the schools that were there, and I think the same thing. So the schools that have bolted from there, it's not the same conference anymore. But I think that person that's alluding to that is saying Pac-12 still sounds better than the Mountain West to market for financial reasons. But I can see where you're coming from too. The Pac-12 is the Pac-2 now. It's not even what it used to be or any semblance of what it used to be. But I understand where people would think, hey, Pac-12. Mountain West, you would probably think Pac-12 still. There's a lot of people that probably don't know that Pac-12 is the Pac-2 now. So I think that's what that person was saying.
I'm going to go to this, Ed. You might know this. I got this from Eric. Kenyon Aguino, Volcano Vista.
Mm-hmm.
Offered by Tim Miles and San Jose State University today.
Wow, Kenyon Aguino, two-time champion with Volcano Vista. His game has gotten much better every year. Strong kid, offensive rebounder, can score inside, makes his free throws. So yeah, I'm not too surprised about that. And that's an early offer. So, and Tim Miles, we mentioned, he didn't have a great year, but is a good coach. So I'm happy for Kenyon and Coach Greg Brown out there at Volcano Vista. Back-to-back championships, trying to get a third one. The season won't start for a long time, but I think he has a good chance to three-peat out there with Kenyon being on his roster and another kid he has out there. David Lunn, who's a freshman and plays like a 18-year-old already. I think they've got a good chance to three-peat.
Any final? I'm going to go to a commercial break, then we're going to wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts on you guys on NIL, this tournament? Miguel Sanchez burning paper. Burning his files. I mean, I don't know why UNM isn't offering that kid. I mean, that just boggles my mind. He's local at Volcano Vista. All right, Z Mountain Shadow. What's going on with Top Hooper in Los Lunas? He is in class of 2025. Is Holland his name? Sorry, Ed. I got to defer. You're like Jacob tonight. I got to defer to you.
Well, his coach Travis Julian resigned just about a month ago. And he's supposed to come back. I've heard that rumors he might play with ABC Prep this year. So I'm really not sure, but he's supposed to come back for his senior year, and we'll see. I wouldn't count 100%. I haven't heard that he is or isn't. Los Lunas just hired a new coach about 2 weeks ago. He's supposed to be back there, but I have heard rumors he might play with ABC Prep for his senior year, but we'll see.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll wrap this up. My name's Ryan Tamori. This is the Pit Press Live.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
Welcome back to the Pit Press Live. My name's Ryan Tamori. I'm joined by Rick Thompson, Ed Nunez, the voice of the Western New Mexico Mustangs. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the UNM baseball team. They won a rubber match on Sunday against UNLV with a 10-run seventh inning to win the series. Man, they hit the ball out of the park. UNM's 25-21 on the year, 14-10 overall. They were in a slump kind of, but looking a lot better now. They're in second place, they're tied for first with Fresno State. Fresno State's lost 5 as of, I guess, this weekend, at least the last updated on golobos.com. The game against San Diego State, New Mexico State, was rescheduled. It was tonight for a 6 p.m. start for inclement weather. I'm gathering it was in Cruces. No. Instead, the Lobos will return to action this weekend for a Mountain West series with Nevada. So they canceled New Mexico State. I don't know. I guess it was here.
No, it was in Cruces. I read that was on my sports report this morning for 99.9 FM. It was in Cruces.
Okay, good to know. Then that makes sense, because I was like, it was pretty much okay in Albuquerque today. We're going back to my main man.
Say hello to Miguel Sanchez.
UNM should consider the golf live model, name a Saudi princess AD, with daddy providing a $20 million NIL budget to stack the deck. Wouldn't we appreciate that all? That would be great. I'd be all for that. Maybe we wouldn't lose. Maybe they wouldn't lose. It'd be fantastic. Do you guys have any final thoughts as I Jerry Springer it on out of here? Ed, I'll start with you.
No, I think it was a good show, good topics. I think the extension for Coach Pitino is good. Jalen House, best of luck to him in the G League invite camp, and best of luck to JT Toppin at the NBA, and then the NBA invite, the NBA camp, and I think the NIL tournament is going to be a great thing. So I thought we covered some really good topics tonight, and I just want to say, the commenters and Eric Markham didn't show up, to comment live. He gave you 15 comments, man, at 5:45 this morning. But
no, this afternoon.
Oh, this afternoon. You know what?
If it would have been in the morning, I would have been like, this guy's a crazy bastard, and I love you. Sorry, go ahead, Ed.
I just appreciate everybody that listens and tunes in. We're nothing without our listeners, man. So I think we've established a pretty good fan base, and I just appreciate everybody that watches.
He did write in 15 times, but here it is again, as he was looking for us. Chef's kiss. It was great. And then here's again was his bold statement on Bueller, and then my favorite. Hello, Joe. Rick, any final thoughts?
Yeah, 2 things actually. New Mexico women's golf team has 2 players playing at the NCAA Las Vegas regional round today. Maya McDonald and Lauren Lehigh are both in the top 25 heading into the final round tomorrow. So good luck to those Lady Lobo golfers. And one other thing that I wish I would have brought up during our contract talk that was in Jeffrey Grammer's article on the Albuquerque Journal that I failed to read the first time through is Pitino's new contract pulls him evenly with newly hired UNM football coach Bronco Mendenhall at 1.2, making them each the highest paid public employees in the state. However, next paragraph, Mendenhall, who signed a memorandum of understanding in December when he was hired, indicating he will earn 1.2 million in annual compensation with far more bonus, has not yet signed his deal at UNM. So Mendenhall has not yet signed his deal at UNM to this point for some reason. And I don't know why. It says there's some type of memorandum, but I guess that just means they're letting it ride under the table during the spring and hoping that the contract will be resolved. It's just kind of weird that the contract has not been signed, yet he's coaching.
That is weird.
And I just noticed that right now. So maybe we can touch on that more on Thursday, but contract is still unsigned is what I just pulled out of that.
So why the hell would you be coach? Maybe I'm a little flabbergasted by this. You know that my antenna went up. I glossed over that. I feel like that's a bigger deal than
I
not.
don't know what that means. I've never seen or heard of some contract like that where you're coaching without having signed.
I'm reading it again, and I'm sorry, Rick. Mendenhall, who signed a memorandum of understanding in December when he was hired, indicating he will earn $1.2 million in annual compensation with far more bonus incentive opportunities than what's in Pitino's deal, has not yet signed a contract with UNM. So does that mean they technically don't have a football coach? I mean, they do, and they do. I mean, we went down this rabbit hole.
Is he working for free?
I guess he's working. I mean, does he need the money? Maybe his gambling debts. I don't know. That is very. I'm looking at you laughing. So, again, this sounds like the most UNM thing ever that was brought to our attention. We need to look into that because that's very odd. I don't know what to say about that. I'm kind of dumbfounded now. Ed, I might throw that your way. I know it's very odd, and I'm, again, not trying to put you on the spot.
No,
but
I've never heard of that.
Hear, when you hear that, with
probably just like Rick's or your reaction. I never have heard of that. So it's with that, those contracts are usually signed when the coach is hired at the press, at the presser the next day. And I never heard of that. So I don't even know what to say about that. But here's the important thing. He's still out there every day coaching, recruiting, doing what he's doing and actively involved. So whatever it is, it's not stopped him from doing his day-to-day duties as a UNM football coach.
Must be those burritos from Sadie's.
Yeah.
Ed, I'm not laughing at you. I was just thinking while you were talking. It's like, I don't know. Again, it's like the most UNM football thing ever. And if you want to disagree,
I've never heard of that for any coach here. Never. I've never heard of that. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that.
Well, gosh darn it. I forgot to queue up the Jerry's. I'm looking at you, Rick. I'm sorry. I'm repeating myself. It's the most UNM football thing ever. Like, so does that mean, I mean, that means he can walk away, right? He can just say, like, in next month, he can just say, where's that guy with the meme? Throw it. It's Friday. Fuck it. Like, I can leave. What? There's got to be more to this. There just has to be. This is Rick. Thank God bless you. I don't know what to say. That my final thoughts are, holy shit. Yeah. So yeah, sorry for the laughter there. It's not good radio. I thought about the time Jay Moore used to host his show, and he did alternative lifestyle. He did alternative lifestyle droopy dog, where he'd be like, no, I can't do it. Like, Rick, I'll send that to you because it was great. I'm just laughing. I mean, has not yet signed his contract with UNM. Well, back to the comments because we got a few more. Everybody head out to Sadie's and splurge on 20. Splurge on $20 burritos. Hey, what are you doing
Gotta
this
pay
weekend?
Bronco. We gotta pay Bronco somehow. Maybe we don't have the money yet.
I mean, that's got to be there's got to be that has to play a factor into this. Alfred
Say hello to Miguel Sanchez.
Alfred skipped on an MOU. Did either of you know what that means? IOU, MOU. I should have queued up the Jeopardy music. I don't know. I'll move on from that. I don't know what that means. Miguel, I love you.
Say hello to Miguel Sanchez.
Because I can I can never get tired of playing that clip. Well, I think we've got another topic for Thursday, and we'll see how we can't bring that down. Sorry for the terrible show and the terrible radio, as I guess UNM has to pay Bronco Mendenhall in New Mexican food. The contract agreement he signed. Well, yeah, I mean, I think he owed UNM money. He paid UNM back, and I think UCLA helped him. Again, allegedly, I think that they helped him when he left. I don't specifically remember, but I'm pretty sure that UCLA helped, I think, with a buyout because he had a buyout, and I think probably by breach of contract or whatever. I mean, who cares? Well, we got really entertaining there at the end. Hey, again, follow us, find us on X, aka Twitter, the artist formerly known as Twitter. I will get never tired of saying that either. Every time I say that, I just think about When Doves Cry or Charlie Murphy's True Hollywood Stories there, Rick. Find us on Twitter. Find us on X, the Pit Press NM. Visit our website. We need to do more with that, I know, but it still looks good. Visit our website at thepitpressnm.com. Find us on Instagram, the Pit Press NM. We're on Instagram. Oh yeah, I did that. Facebook, the Pit Press. Eric, I don't know if you're listening. We don't have a TikTok. I don't TikTok. We don't have one of those. But hey, we really appreciate everybody listening. Ed, I know I already mentioned it. Just to throw it out again, we are not a show without our listeners. We really appreciate it. Your interaction. John Romero, I'm giving you a hard time. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you thoroughly enjoy the show. We try to bring, more coverage to UNM. We talked for an hour and a half tonight. I think it's a lot better than, no offense to the guys, my friends at KRQE and KOB. A lot more than 20-second clip of, JT Toppin dunking and Pitino saying, hey, we played a great game tonight. So again, we are not anything without you. We really, really appreciate it. Much love. Ben Wysong, we appreciate it. Great show, guys. Again, this is a show for you guys. The UNM, I keep saying you guys. Hey, you guys. It's a show for the UNM community. Please feel to chime in. Please be active on our Twitter when we post things. We repost things. Much appreciated. We'll be back Thursday. Hopefully we'll have a full house. But Rick, Ed, thank you guys on your behalf. Rick Thompson, Ed Nunez. My name is Ryan Tamori, and this is thank you for everybody watching the Pit Press Live.